Hi guys, we're back with another episode of the Mythmakers podcast. We're here. Sorry that we've been missing for a little bit, but we had out of country trips and
Our market.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it was really successful. Thank you guys for coming out. It was the biggest one we've ever done. We usually have 36 vendors and it was 65 plus, I think, is what it ended up turning out to be, on like 100-degree day.
Yeah, that was rough.
It was rough. We are always open to like new venues. If you own a venue or you have a venue you want to recommend that would be interested in working with us for a market, we have been looking around. It's hard to get a market space that's big enough to accommodate as many vendors as we have and as many shoppers as we have. So I think as we are looking for ones to do later in the year, that's something that if you guys have any, I don't know, recommendations, please feel free.
We should also think about, do we want to do more frequent markets with fewer vendors, or do we want to do the less frequent with like the 60 plus?
So we will be doing tavern nights, which will have 6 to 10 vendors at them. So those will be more frequent.
Yeah.
And then the big ones, I think it's just deciding, like, will our summer market be more like an expo? Mm-hmm. And when I say expo, I'm talking more like ballroom at a hotel.
I see.
Maybe like 50, 60 vendors, but we're all inside.
Yeah.
That could definitely be something that we're doing. I think that right now we have the pool for vendors where we had 150 people respond for 20 spots in 6 hours.
Oh my God.
So we do have the ability.
Many.
Yeah, we have the ability.
We just need to not compete with garb sale next time.
I don't want to compete with garb sale at all. So maybe we'll look for next year and we'll keep our eyes and our ears open for another spot. Vending, I think, is just super cool. I think it's fun that there are so many different places. We're going to be at the garb sale in 2 weeks, on the 18th and 19th in Baltimore, which might be when this is coming out, who knows. But if it is the Friday before that and you're seeing this, then you should stop by. It's in Timonium and there's a ton of vendors and we all sell our Ren Fair garb, which is really, really fun. It's a cool way to stock up on new stuff and get like vintage garb sale stuff and stuff that's handmade.
Like a market/yard sale.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really fun. You have people who make like, hat makers and they're making hats professionally. Then you have people like us. I do thrifting of things that can be used to make whimsical outfits. Minji sews and does some thrifting stuff.
Yeah, a large majority of my stuff is also just my closet, so.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, you have a lot of handmade things from over the years, like, in a way that I do not. But yes. Yeah, so that's going to be super exciting. I think just in general, the markets are really, really fun, and we've had a lot of fun having you guys out there. So thank you guys for coming. We wanted to thank you guys. Today, we are going to have a discussion that we have put off having. We had an offhand comment one time, and it's a hot take, and, you guys may feel polarized as we do on this, but my hot take is that I think that ACOTAR is what Twilight was to us in middle school. Minji does not agree.
No, I think that... Okay, so my general thought for ACOTAR is that ACOTAR is more like 50 Shades. And before I get into denigrating ACOTAR,
But wait, what is the Twilight? If ACOTAR is 50 Shades, then what is the Twilight?
I don't think there is a Twilight. I think that Twilight...
Because 50 Shades is like...
Okay, I guess in the resurgence in popularity of reading culture generally, sure, it did similarly to what Twilight did. But I think that also the way it's affected the book industry generally is more similar to 50 Shades than it is to Twilight.
I don't know. I think that they're just more similar genres. But when I think about this, like, okay, I am a person who I feel like I read a lot when I was younger, but I never really was in a fandom. I was not a fandom person. So even though, Hunger Games was out, stuff like that, I feel like at the same time, I wasn't like in a fandom before. And then Twilight came out and I was in middle school and it really affected me. And I feel like it was this thing where then everybody became like Team Edward, Team Jacob, and you're waiting for the midnight release of the books. And like there's this cult following. And so that all happens. Then when I'm an adult, I feel like ACOTAR came out and it was the same vibe. Like it's giving the same vibe of like, oh, have you read this book? And then people who I feel like when we were younger, right, vampire books were not for, like, the cool kids. The cool kids were not reading vampire books. I was reading vampire books, like Vampire Freaks or whatever it was, like Goth Girl Dies Again. I don't know. Like, those were my types of books in middle school. And then I remember Twilight coming out, and it was like the cool kids at school are reading Twilight. People are going to the movies. And I was like, what is happening?
Thought it was cool at my school.
Oh my God, everybody thought. I felt like it swept the nation, like, all. I mean, you gotta also think I was going to Christian school. Like, it was weird to see people, like, reading that stuff, but people loved Twilight. And then I felt like
I got made fun of a lot for how much I liked Twilight.
Maybe you just like Twilight more than the average person, though. Like,
I don't think anybody really in my school liked Twilight.
Yeah, I think a lot of people... Okay, to be fair, we're different ages.
Yeah.
So you got to think, like, I do think a middle school was maybe hit a little harder. But
yeah.
I think that...
Once I got to college, I found a lot of people who liked Twilight.
Yes.
We went to the movies and stuff. But, like...
I mean, I think in general, it's not cool to like things in high school. Like, I think people get made fun of for that shit regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that...
Were you dressing up like a vampire with the fangs?
No, I can't. So I can't really wear fangs because my bite doesn't work with fangs, unfortunately.
Fangs. Mine doesn't work with fangs either.
Oh, we have, like, similar bites.
Yeah.
Your teeth are a lot straighter than mine.
That's because I had braces. Did you have braces?
I had braces for about 6 months.
I had braces, and then the last thing that they had to do was they were putting all the rubber bands on to straighten out my bite, but I didn't like it, and I have TMJ, so when I went in, I just practiced, like, lining up my teeth, and, like, it's really uncomfortable, and I would go in, and the dentist would be like, bite down. And then I lied, so actually, like, if I put my jaw where it's comfortable, it's, like, a tooth over.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's really bad, but that's okay. I get Botox in my jaw now.
That's bad.
It's whatever. I don't know, though. People have been talking about... this is just such a... I don't even want to go off topic, but they have been talking about the you can, like, get botched, like, jaw Botox, and it can, like, go down into your smile, and then you can't smile, and, like, for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't had that problem, so I'm not going to jinx myself on that. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like with Twilight... Okay, so hear me out. So... I just feel like ACOTAR was giving the same thing. It has, like, this love triangle. I feel like there's clearly somebody that they, like, want you to like. It definitely expanded, I think, more than Twilight did. Like, I think Twilight, maybe Stephanie Meyer could have expanded a little bit more on the world, but not the way that she wrote it. Like, I do think that she could have had sort of more of a Sarah Maas take to it. But I just see it affecting...
I think it's better that she didn't.
Yeah. I mean... I liked Twilight the way it was written, and I enjoyed all of the books, and I felt pretty satisfied. I will say, for both ACOTAR and for Twilight, I don't like these, like, pregnancy arc things that happen. Like, it's really...
I find Bella's a lot more compelling than ACOTAR's, though.
Even though they're really similar.
They are really similar, but for one, Bella doesn't have to actually sacrifice herself. She knows she can come back. Mm-hmm. I hated that in ACOTAR. I think also, like, the idea, it feels like Renesmee is, like, devouring her from the inside in a very different way than, like, what's-her-name's baby is devouring her. It's like, it feels more like a incompatibility thing for ACOTAR, whereas, like, the innate nature of Renesmee is to devour.
Yeah.
Which I think is a much more interesting comment on child rearing and birth than
I mean, I'm not saying they're a one-for-one. I just feel so many parallels, and, like, I also think that it affects the genre in the same way. Like, to me, I feel like when Twilight came out, I was seeing a lot of people pick up supernatural romances in a different way and approach it differently, and it became more mainstream. Like, I think it was more mainstreaming cool to, like, like the Vampire Diaries on TV, or, like, to watch, like, vampire TV shows became really popular. True Blood. I feel like
that. Definitely vampires became more popular.
And then I feel like Fae is now more popular now because of ACOTAR. So I feel like it's doing the same thing in its specific niche.
Yes.
And I feel like 50 Shades is more like, I want to say, like, Quicksilver. Like, there are, like,
I haven't read
dirtier versions of stories that feel like ACOTAR. I feel like there's, like, a smuttier, darker version.
Okay, so, like, that's...
Or maybe Crescent City is, like, 50 Shades. You know?
They're both by the same author, though, so that can't...
I know they're not the same, but it is definitely, like,
okay,
smuttier.
So
Wait,
that
does make sense, because then that would make Throne of Glass Twilight. And then ACOTAR would be 50 Shades.
I guess, except that it's... if you want to have the take that Sarah Maas is cannibalizing her work to make fan fiction of her own work.
But she is.
Which, I do think that argument could be made. So, like, if that's the take you want, then...
Like, she's Marvel Universing it.
Yeah.
So she is doing that.
I think it...
So she is. So in that case, hold on, then you're right. Then I'm agreeing with you then. That ACOTAR would actually be the 50 Shades, and Throne of Glass would be the Twilight. And then Crescent City is something else, but, like, it's... Because it is, Crescent City is like fanfic of the other two almost. Yeah.
That's not good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Tell me.
Shh. You're gonna let me speak. Okay. Okay. So, I have to give a disclaimer because there is a lot of inherent misogyny in disliking ACOTAR that goes around and thinking that smutty books are like porn, basically. And it's not, it's very... anti-women getting to read their stuff. Whatever. I acknowledge all of that. I get it. Don't come for me for that. But ACOTAR is just like... I think that it has normalized so much, and not even normalized, but it has added the expectation of spiciness to literature now, or like books, in the fantasy genre in a way that it definitely was not previously, in the same way that 50 Shades introduced using fan fiction as the basis for works. So, like, once 50 Shades got published, then all of Cassandra Clare's, which were originally Harry Potter fan fiction, were able to get published. And, like, I would be willing to bet actual money that, like, 50% of the books on the market now originally started as fan fiction.
Yeah.
And that is why I think 50
Even
Shades
my book
and ACOTAR
is kind of secret fan fiction.
Right. And like
I will never be telling people what it's a fan fiction of because no one will ever guess. But you know where it comes from.
ACOTAR and Throne of Glass thematically are trying to be similar to Twilight. And I think that she emulated the formula of Twilight as does every other like fantasy novelist right now, because that was a successful formula of like shy girl, old man, forbidden romance. And that is just kind of the formula that has worked and continues to work because like teenage girls feel trapped in their reality and want to be swooped off by some unnatural being who knows what life is about.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
so like
true.
I think in that way, yes, they are similar because they're in the same genre. But I think that in the way that they have each affected literature and like the book industry as a whole, Twilight really allowed for girls to like be kind of useless in books and have an attitude about it. Like I feel like previously female protagonists were always like they had to be the strong girl or like the action girl or the plucky 10-year-old kind of shit, or they were male gaze entirely. Mm-hmm. Whereas Bella Swan is just a teenager who has a fucking attitude.
Yeah. And
for her to that book to get that popular off of something that nobody likes teenage girls for is really interesting. I don't think that ACOTAR has quite the same weight in pop culture and like how it shapes narratives of books in the same way, and in a way that is like, I think, furthering the industry. I think unfortunately ACOTAR has really allowed for a lot of sloppiness in the industry, and like part of that is AI, but a lot of it is that Sarah Maas clearly doesn't have a very good editor. She has so many misspellings and typos and like repeats the same words over and over again. And I think she's a bad writer, and I think that she's normalized bad writing.
Yeah. And I would agree with that because I remember the first time that I read it, we were doing that photo project, mm-hmm. and I just wanted to be like, know what I was reading. Yeah. And so I remember reading the first book and being like, wow, this is so approachable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it feels really approachable. And I think for me as a which I will say though, I do think that in the same way we were talking about like genre furthering. I do think that Twilight did more as far as the exact specific thing that you're talking about, very valid and true, and that's not something that ACOTAR does, but I do think, for better or for worse, ACOTAR being written at the level that it's written is really approachable for people who just we are in a literacy crisis. And so I do think that in that case, what it is doing is kind of like making reading approachable for a large number of people who just literally would never have read a book again.
Yeah, I get that.
And so I think in that way, I see it as a Twilight adjacent. Like, I'm understanding what you're saying about 50 Shades, and I do think that they have a lot of similarities in the way that you're right. I think that ACOTAR having smut and being so successful is making it so that smut books aren't just, like, sold in back rooms or whatever.
And I guess my biggest qualm with ACOTAR making smut so prevalent in fantasy is that, like, now romantasy has kind of taken over the fantasy genre, and if you read a book and there is no smut, like, there's always reviews that are like, I thought this was going to be spicy, and like, it's a big reason that nobody likes fucking Folk of the Air is because they think it's too heavy on politics and not enough spice. And I'm like, that's the point.
And you're a person who definitely prefers less or no spice in your books, which kind of makes it hard, because then I feel like you're probably getting recommended a lot of books that have a lot of spice.
Absolutely.
I mean, even when you're reading my book, like, my book has spice, and I wouldn't even say mine's like especially spicy. It's like a very moderately spicy. Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think that as I've been reading fantasy books, I personally, for some reason, do kind of like the spice, but only because I think that it's, to me, it feels unrealistic, I guess, as a person who has been young and like a horny teenager before, and I just feel like it's unrealistic that they're not having these thoughts. And so I feel like when people are exploring those in literature, I do find that more interesting, but I don't like how smutty ACOTAR got. So like, I feel like the first book, I was like, oh, this is a completely realistic, like, if in this fantasy unrealistic situation, these are like normal, appropriate feelings that would be coming up at these appropriate times. But then I feel like by the time we got to like Nesta's book, I'm like, is the story filler? Is the story filler for the sex scenes? Because that's what it feels like.
It does feel like that.
And it feels like that with Crescent City too sometimes.
Yeah, I do. So I get that, and I get that, like, I do like it when books are like about teenagers. They feel like teenagers and they don't just feel like adults in teenager bodies. So I get where you're coming from that. I don't think that she does that enough, though, that it makes the like constant thoughts about sex feel narratively relevant. Or like even character relevant, because like she goes and hunts for her family and she's just like, I'm so broody and whatever, and like, which I guess is kind of teenagery, but like in a way that's so like, I'm such a martyr and not I have an attitude.
Well, actually what you're saying makes a lot of sense, because that is one of my pet peeves, is when I believe that if you can skip the sex chapter and there's nothing in the chapter that has anything to do with the story, then it's kind of like we're taking a break to like, why is that?
Do you think a lot of ACOTAR is like that?
And it's not even just ACOTAR. I will say, as a person who's read a lot of romantasy this year, it feels like, and now for a short break, and then we have this chapter, and then it goes back. And I'm not saying that's bad. I enjoy all of those books. I don't know, when I was writing, that's one thing I was thinking of, was I wanted there to be like hints in the scenes that are narrative. Like, there's a reason that we're getting a glimpse into this private, intimate moment that's happening, other than the fact that it happened.
Yeah, I agree. I think it can be like really useful for exploring like how characters act in like a vulnerable situation, or like but
sometimes
less vulnerable. Yeah, like
though, as Minji said earlier, we are not yucking anyone's yum, because I am a person who really likes spice in books. Like, I'm not at like tentacles level spice, but like, and I know some people are, and there is nothing wrong with that. There's just,
I see what you like.
I see what you mean when you're talking about sort of how it's like stories without that are almost like underrepresented now. Or they just are not going viral because people are giving them bad reviews. It kind of feels like another
level of the dumbing down of everything for approachability, which is like, I think that there should be approachable media for everybody. Everybody's at a different level. Everybody wants to interact with media in different levels. So, like, I think that it's good that there are approachable media for people, but I do also dislike that it's made it so it's so hard to find anything that is of a more complex
I will
narrative.
also say, Minji, now that you're saying that, it is making me feel like, in that same thing where we're talking about the literacy crisis and like how specifically Americans, we're in America, are like consuming media. I think it's very interesting you say that, since the most popular TV show in America is Love Island, which is filled with little like sexual vignettes.
Garbage.
Yeah, but it's like that is a part of it, is like, you know, it's almost like we're conditioned in, and I do watch Love Island, so I'm not gonna...
We finished the 7th season, so we did watch it, and like we enjoyed it. It's very addicting.
It's
like,
very
they're
addicting.
Good at,
and it's on every night.
that's
Do, do,
wild.
do, do, do.
Those
They-
editors must have a rough fucking job.
They do. They definitely do. But I was going to say that it makes a lot of sense because we are conditioned to watch these shows that we're interested in the relationship dynamics, and also we want to see them like getting having fun, like getting together. You know what I mean? Like even just the idea of like the hideaway. Oh, we have like a little, here's a break in the season.
So
Two
many
people are
of
just
them
going in
don't
there.
even like. They don't even care that everybody's in the room with them.
Oh, I know.
That's wild to me.
Yep. That's happening right now. They just had like a hideaway date last night, and they're voting off. We're getting to the final four. So it's family day tonight. So
It must be so uncomfortable for the families.
I think so, but so this is something I've been thinking about a lot as a person who like was actively auditioning for reality television when I was in college, and I was very mentally ill.
I guess
you know that
your
about
family
me.
already knows that you're a weirdo if you're going on there.
I think it's more so like the type of people that go on reality television, I think, are not very self-aware. And when you're not very self-aware, it's unlikely that you were raised by self-aware people. And so when you're not self-aware, all attention feels like good attention. And you kind of can't predict, or like you really can't walk yourself through what the social or emotional repercussions of being on a show like that is going to do. And I'm not saying that they're young. These people are really young.
Yeah.
They're contestants on this season. They're 20, 21.
Oh my
like,
God.
I think they're 21. That might be the youngest.
Go to school.
Yeah, but like they're really young. And so you just don't know. And I remember when I was auditioning, I was like 21, 22. I thought I was grown. I thought like, oh yeah, I'll just be naked on television. That sounds fun. Like,
Oh my God.
You know, that was like, I was literally
Let your
auditioning
frontal lobe
for...
develop,
I know.
please.
I was like auditioning for a show where I would be like going on a first date naked. Like that. And I thought, wow, for the plot. But like... truly, I just don't think that people like understand it, and I also think that their families are like, oh my God, you're famous now, and you know, even when I met you, we met 3-4 years ago, and I feel like the first thing you told me was you might want to consider changing your name. You might like here's all these privacy things that you can do, and I was like, why would I do that? Then like people aren't gonna know who I am, and you're like, yeah, that's the point. Like, you don't want people having all your information. And I did not get that back then. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had done more to protect my privacy. Like, I'm pretty good at it. I feel like with your guidance, I have been good with that. But like, oh my gosh.
No stalkers.
Yeah, there's even more things that I wish I would have done in the past. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I even went through my social media, like my private social media the other day. And I was like deleting all my information and stuff like that, because I'm like, people don't need to know like every place I've ever worked, and like what,
that's true.
Yeah, all those things. I just don't need any of that. Or like, you know, when I was in high school, middle school, I guess, I'm a little younger than you, but like when we first got on Facebook, it was really popular to like add every one of your best friends as your sibling. So I had like 50 people that it said I was related to on Facebook. So I guess if you went to their page, you could see me as like a relative or something like that. And like, I don't know, I was just like, I don't want to be like found with all these people that I don't know anymore. Like, I'm not related to them at all, and I'm just gonna delete those. Like, so I was doing like a hard delete of a bunch of stuff, and you know, I've just been thinking a lot more about that, and especially when watching the show, there's no way that the people on that show really understand the repercussions of being on that show.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, but that's what reality television does to you, and our frontal lobes haven't developed enough to be on reality television at 21.
No.
They just haven't. It's so hard. I do wish that we had some sort of like 30 and up Love Island, where it was a little. But
I've seen the TikToks that are this girl who like it's like me on Love Island and she's in her 30s and she's just like no, I'm just gonna sit here with my wine, guys. You go have fun.
Yeah, that's what I just want, like 30s Island and 30s Island.
It's just gonna be a bunch of people sitting around the pool, not talking to each other.
Yeah, just hanging out. No sexy challenges. A good book. Yeah. Well, they're not allowed to have books. So that's one of the things with Love Island. Have you noticed? Like, they're not allowed to have any media. They don't have movies. They don't have books. They don't have anything.
They just sit around and do nothing?
Yes, and they're actually made by production to, like, do certain things. So, like, all the guys have to work out every day with that, like, little fake gym set that they have.
I thought they were actually working out.
I mean, they are, but, like, on camera for fun. Like, they don't go swimming in that pool, really, unless production, like, makes them jump in the pool. They, like, do not go into the pool. So the pool's kind of just there for a show to sit next to. And they're not given... There's no snacking. There's like no food in the villa. Cage. Yeah, there's no food in the villa except for in the morning when they're cooking. And then they're given a catered dinner and they're given, like, sandwiches for lunch. So
what?
Yeah. So they say that people, like, lose a ton of weight while they're in the villa because they're just getting, like, exactly 3 meals a day. And there's, like, no snacks.
My God.
Like, yeah. And then they're also...
I did notice that Huda, I thought it was swelling from her nose job, that her face was a lot less puffy at the end.
No, they lose weight.
I guess it could be both.
Yeah, they lose weight, and also they are only allowed to have, like, 2 drinks a day. So you might think that they're, like, drunk during the challenges. They're not. They're completely...
They're just hungry.
They're just completely sober during all of those things. They are also sleep deprived. They don't have any clocks in the villa, and so when they go to sleep... the lights go off and they have to be asleep, and then the lights go on and they have to get out of bed and start that routine where all the girls go to the dressing room and all the guys, and they have to immediately get up. Like, you're not allowed to sleep in. So, like, when it goes up, I'm assuming there's some sort of alarm or something and the windows come up and it's morning. Yeah, but it's like it might just
like
be
a prison
7
experiment.
It is. It's like 7 or 8 hours of sleep. Like, whatever it is, it's just... It doesn't matter if you were running, riding horseback, and playing games the day before. Like, you get your 7.5 hours of sleep or whatever it is they decide you get, and that's what you get. And if you didn't fall asleep on time, then, like, you're waking up, you might have only gotten 6 hours of sleep because you couldn't go to bed. Like, yeah, so they are sleep deprived.
That sounds horrible.
I think people think they're drunk because of all the crazy stuff that's happening, but they really are not allowed to drink very much.
That's so weird.
Yeah, which is super interesting.
As an aside, I felt so bad for Chris that he was in there with everybody because he seemed so much more emotionally mature than literally every single other person in the villa.
You say that, but Chris ended up being, he's like a scammer.
Doing what?
So he was unemployed. He was homeless, like, during the experiment. So he had been couch surfing for, like, 2 years.
I thought he was a basketball player.
Yeah, that's what he says.
He was a liar?
No. So he had played basketball, like, 2 years prior, but he didn't have an active contract. So he was, like, a retired semi-pro basketball player. So he didn't play for the NBA. He played, like, overseas, not making a lot of money. And then he had not worked for, like, 2 years, and he didn't have a house. He was, like, homeless. So all this stuff was coming out during the filming, and people were like, he's just trying to, like, find a bed. Like, he just trying to get the bag. Get the bag. Yeah, but, like, that was definitely... Somebody was calling him, what, like, hobo... Oh, we got a hobosexual, like, a hobosexual.
Honestly, whatever. I don't think that's that scammy. It's a reality show.
People actually are mad about that stuff, so, like, this...
Really?
Oh, my God. So,
why?
Okay. So, I don't know what... all right, I'm gonna give you some drama. We're gonna talk a little bit about Love Island, but, like, this year, this is a thing with the social experiment that's very interesting.
Okay.
So, like, clearly none of these people are, like, actually falling in love. There's very few people that really stay together for the long haul, and even the people, like, from last season. So Nick and Landria is definitely a PR couple.
Yeah,
I don't know if they are, but, like, I don't know if they are. Okay, you had to be there because you didn't watch it live.
No.
So last year, when Nick and Landria were in the villa, the entire season, there were, like, viral edits every week of every time Nick looked at Landria. And how they always picked each other to, like, make out within the challenges. So, like, there were, I mean, I'm talking set to, like, yearning love songs. It was a parasocial yearning story that happened with Nick and Alandria. That is why they ended up that couple that got voted so high. And it makes no sense if you're watching it without knowing that. But, like, so Nick and Alandria have become, like, you know, Alandria's on the fucking cover of Vogue. She's, like, the most famous.
She was?
She is the most famous person to ever come out. She was invited to the Met Gala this year.
I had no idea.
So Alandria is,
like... Aren't they Trump supporters?
No, they're not Trump supporters.
Isn't Nick a Trump supporter?
No, that was Austin.
I saw online that Nick is also conservative and friends with somebody.
I have heard that Nick is not a Trump supporter. Right. It was Austin that was a Trump supporter, and then he walked it back or something like that. Something happened where he was like, I
was looking at it fairly recently, and like apparently Nick is friends with people who. Who's that podcaster?
I don't know. That part I don't know about. All I can tell you about is last season, because after last season I've checked out. I don't follow Nick Alandria very often, but I do follow Alandria. She's been on like almost every international Vogue. She has all these brand dealers. She went to the Met Gala. She was at like all of like the Emmys. She's invited to everything. She's crazy famous now. And so what happened was Alandria was in there. You saw the arc. She was with Taylor, but like everybody made up this imaginary love story that like Nick and Alandria were actually secretly in love, and Nick and Alandria were like just appearing to not feel it. But then once they came in second and then they got out of the villa, they realized like, oh, and so they've been in a relationship since, and it definitely is given PR. But I was talking about Taylor and Clark, who were extremely unpopular. People were like, get them out my villa,
and they're still together. Like each other, right?
So we have this year we have another Taylor and Clark situation, and you know they're probably going to get voted to go home this time because people are mad at them for like, you know, switching getting together, but they're very compatible. And that's what I'm saying. So on Love Island, you are not actually rewarded for falling in love. You are rewarded for being like they typically reserve the winning for man who yearns for the most popular girl in the villa. So that's what happens. Like nobody cares about the guys. A guy could not win. That's why so the men who bring girls back from Casa never win. You have to be a man that's yearning for one of the OG girls. That's pretty much how you win. And so right now we're having this issue where there's like people who are scamming. So Charlie from last season, his little brother's in the villa this year, and he was an OG and he's still there. Okay. But like he's moving weird and people don't like him, and so like they're trying to get him out the villa and he's trying to like play the game. But at the end of the day, it is a game show and you are competing for $100,000. So in order to win Love Island, you have to essentially make America believe that you do not think that you're playing a game, that like you are worthy of the money because you are not in it for the money, and you are like yearning so passionately for this person that is not being unlikable.
So then why did Amaya win?
Because when Ace was mean to Amaya way earlier in the season and made her cry for like the first time and was mean to her, people started calling her our Amaya Papaya. And then as it grew, like Amaya Papaya just became like a thing. So every week we'd be getting these edits of like Amaya, and she was super popular. And then everybody was like, it got to this point where it was like, okay, so everybody wanted to vote for Alandria, but Alandria just like didn't have a strong connection with Taylor. She wouldn't let Taylor go. So everybody's frustrated with her. There was a really big like Huda stance. People loved Huda.
I liked Huda. She's messy and needs to grow up, but
sure. I was a Huda defender at the time, and I was like, okay, Huda, like now I'm not, because she has all the DV things that came out afterwards, and that's so bad. Yes, she ended up dating someone from season 6, and then she like attacked his ex-girlfriend and her child like in a parking garage or something.
Oh my god,
it's really bad. She like she's canceled now, so Huda's bad. Sorry to fill you in on all this stuff. Yes. So at the time though, I was like, okay, I liked Huda over Jeremiah. There were like a lot of polarizing stuff with Huda and Jeremiah, but as it got towards the finale, it was just like nobody was staying together. The only real couple was like Shelly and Ace, who everybody thought were scammers, so nobody would vote for them.
I liked them.
They knew each other before the villa.
I know.
And that was, I think, the problem, was they were like in each other's DMs, and it appeared that they were just two people dating who decided to like go on and pretend to meet on Love Island.
I think that's funny as fuck.
Yeah. So they didn't win.
I think that is absolutely hilarious, and they should win.
No, but people didn't like that. Like I said, people want to feel like you're not playing the game. So like if you are playing the game, you're getting voted off. And even though it's a game show. It makes no sense, but it is how it goes. But then it was like Taylor and Clark were like the only other real couple that was there that had any longevity. And people hated Taylor for the way he treated Alandria, even though he did. I know. I'm with you in fact. It was just he would not stand up for himself and tell Alandria that he didn't want to be with her.
I guess.
Until I played Clark.
He kind of did.
Yeah, but the way it all rolled out, like, they wanted to send him home, so he was out. So then like, it was just everybody left.
I feel like every time that Taylor and Alandria were having a conversation, Taylor's kind of like, there's something about Clark that just makes me feel different. But then Alandria would always cut in and be like, but we're still exploring, right?
Yeah.
And Taylor was just like, I guess.
Yes.
But
so
I have a better connection with Clark.
And people were just very, very frustrated about it all. And, like, with Sierra getting sent home, like, there was just a lot of stuff that happened. And so we ended up with Amaya winning because pretty much what happened was everybody hated everybody so much that they were like, whoever Amaya picks, we're just going to vote them the winners. Those are our winners. Amaya Papaya deserves her 100K for all the tomfoolery everybody's put her through. Everybody's been mean to her and she hasn't found a connection. I was almost thinking there was a girl named Jen this season, and when she got in, they were like calling her a nothing burger. Like, she was so boring. She's a nothing burger. And then, like, by the time she got kicked out of the villa, which was just last week, or just, like, 2 days ago or something, like, then she was everybody's everything burger. And, like, everybody loved her. And I was almost at the point where if someone had picked Jen, she probably could have won because of how bad all of her connections had been. That's what happened with Amaya. Was people just felt so bad for her that they felt like she was genuinely trying to connect, and then every time she connected with somebody, they would do her dirty. And so they were like, whoever she chooses, if we can find a man that will, like, stay with Amaya long enough to win, then they're getting that 100K. And so then Amaya won. Yeah. That's how Amaya won. So there's actually what's happening on the show. You almost can't watch the show and experience the show unless you're doing it live, because there is whole. I know. I'm just letting you know. Like, I am watching. The discourse about Love Island is more interesting than the show.
That's just too much effort.
I know.
That's too much effort.
So that's what I've been doing. I've been watching it this season, and then in the mornings I wake up and then I watch my TikTok people that do, like, discourse about it, and it's really fun. Like, licensed therapists who give, like, detailed breakdowns about, like, why certain people are acting a certain way. Those are so fun.
I mean, it's mostly because they're all insecure or narcissists.
Yes, but they, like, it's a microcosm of, like, gaslighting and just things that you know what they are in theory, but to see them play out is very interesting because these people know they're being filmed. So, like, specifically, in a completely ironic twist this year, one of the people that's still in the villa, it's giving Jeremiah and Huda vibes, is this couple, and it's Melanie and Sincere. The man's name is Sincere. Except for he's a pathological liar. And so everybody calls him Mr. Insincere, or they'll call him really Sinister. Those are the two nicknames that people will give him. But, like, he just lies and lies and lies and lies. And then they had movie night, which they didn't have in last season. But it's a night where everybody sits on couches and then they play all the clips to show everybody lying and doing crazy shit. And people get really mad. It happened this year. It's really good. This year's even better than last year.
Oh my God.
And so then it's showing all of Sincere. And Sincere will literally be like this. Like, he's with Melanie. And he's like, hello, my beloved. How you doing? And it's the same day. And he goes and talks. So he goes, hey, my beloved. How you doing? And, like, he's saying the same thing to both girls. And then, like, the guys over there, bro, because they had no idea he's like this. They have all been thinking he's, like, a straight up guy. They're like, Sincere's the best guy in the villa. He's the person I trust with my life. Like, I love him. So then all the guys are like this the whole time. Like, they're watching it. They're so shook. And then they, like, get on him and they're like, dude, you made us look so bad. Like, we've been defending you this entire time. And he's like, I don't know, man. Like, and they're like, did you forget? Like, did you just fucking forget you said all that shit? He goes, yeah, it's like I say a lot and it means a little. And I'm like, yeah. And they might be in the final four, Melanie and Sincere.
Oh,
like,
my God.
Yeah, because some of the other couples be so bad that it's like, yeah, because Zach and Kata, so Zach is Charlie's little brother.
Okay.
Kata is, Kata's his girl that he's been with since day 3, which is, like, a long time to be with. He will not make her his girlfriend. He keeps being like, well, we're not really together. We're just exclusive in here, in the villa. And then everybody else, they be on this kick this season where everybody's asking their girls to be their girlfriends. But Zach lives in Australia. He lives in Australia, so he will not ask her to be his girlfriend.
That's fair.
Like, yeah, but they getting kicked off tonight.
Okay. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll watch that.
Maybe you should. It's very good, but yeah, it's trash. And I just feel like, I don't know.
We don't like Chris then? Because I feel like nothing
Nobody liked Chris.
Why? Like, because they think he's a scammer? Like, good. Game the system.
I think
Find a place to sleep.
I would have to, like, dive back into the archives to figure out why we don't like Chris. But Chris ended up being very unpopular. I think I just felt like
he was the only one who was emotionally intelligent at all. He was the only one who did that.
But then when he got off of the show, I think he did a round of interviews where he was like, saying crazy stuff.
Interesting.
And I think that's what ended up making him unlikable. Because I think people were very much like, oh, Huda's crossing his boundaries, like, and he's communicating, he's being good. But I think he got off, and then he was like, he got off the show, and then he was like, the way he was talking and moving was really weird.
Interesting. Because I also feel like he was the only one who could really like calm Huda down and like not give in to her.
So that's how they ended up in third place. All the way until the breakup on the finale was crazy.
Date, yeah.
But all the way till then, people were really voting for them, because you have to think, we're getting a new episode every night. So this is happening in 24 hours. So all the way till the finale, people were really like, wow, they're so good for each other.
Okay, so people liked him up until then.
Until the finale.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when he like wouldn't carry her across, and like,
I thought that was a good thing that he. Okay, it's
I hear you.
Classic freaking messy girl behavior.
Yeah.
To be like, I want to break up, but you don't care about me.
Yeah.
Can't I give you a call, like a hug goodbye?
Yeah.
Like, what?
So
what
that just happened, except for it was the guy
like,
this season. And the guy, there's this guy named Casey, and he really wanted this girl, Anaya. And they finally make up. And then he goes, can I get a hug, though? And she looks at him, she goes, fuck no. He goes, okay, then go get your man. And she looks over and she goes, shut the fuck up. I don't know who you think you're talking to. Don't talk about me and my man. We'll be fine.
Oh my God.
I was like, yes, girl, T. Because she's the daughter of an NBA player or something like that. And so she's like, giving, like, she got a lot going on. Casey B not treating her right. It's the whole thing.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like him not carrying her over was very like, no, you need to, like, we're over, then we're over.
Yeah.
Great.
It makes
no
sense.
Backtracking.
It's just so crazy. I can't believe that I've become like a Love Island stan. I never thought that I would be into it.
Kit's husband really likes Love Island.
Okay. So Kit's husband is also very into Bridgerton, which I'm also very into. I'm just saying, me and Alex have a lot in common as far as the things we like to
relationships.
I feel like Bridgerton and Love Island are kind of giving the same thing for some reason in different time periods, but they're giving the same thing.
It's messy relationships.
Yeah, I love it.
That are semi-manufactured.
Yeah, and I love it. I just love it. We get a love story.
Yeah.
Woo!
All right, so we were originally talking about how the parasocial relationship of Love Island is similar to how people consume ACOTAR, and
sorry, we got on a long Love Island tangent.
Just pull it all back. I don't know what the time says. Let me look, actually. 45 minutes. Okay, we're good.
This is good. We're killing it.
Yeah, so
I do think that has really changed, though. Like, if you look at popular TV shows now, because there's a lot of reality television, there's a lot of manufactured love, The Bachelor, Love at First Sight, like a lot of stuff like that. And I think that people really do be looking for romance out here because the dating pool is abysmal.
And I think that dating shows have always been popular since kind of the invention of reality TV. Like MTV had all those like weird dating shows, like Go on a Date with Your Mom.
That one was weird.
Kind of stuff. And then like Tila Tequila and Flava Flav.
But these are more, I think they're more accurately reflecting what dating looks like in our society than those.
I agree.
And so because of that, I do think it's really interesting. And I think that's the same thing that, it's not the same thing, but it's touching upon something so specifically with like ACOTAR and romantasy in general. I think what it's doing is the opposite of what Love Island is doing in its own way. So Love Island is giving us a glimpse into like how people really do be treating each other like shit. And that's a lived experience that we all feel validated, like, wow, even when you're all tens and you're in this thing being watched by camera 24/7, and you know that the entire world is seeing every bad thing you do, you're still bad. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is really crazy.
It is super crazy. But then on the flip side, when people are escaping into novels sort of like ACOTAR or something and they're reading romantasy, I feel like we're getting what just doesn't really exist anymore, which is, I think yearning and true connection.
Both romantasy and watching Love Island is like getting to experience close relationships and like intimacy and love, whatever you're missing in your life, without the danger of actually like having any of the closeness. So like you get to watch other people's relationships crash and burn, or you get to watch some weird bat sex and pseudo BDSM. Yeah. But you don't actually have to participate in either of those things, you can just be sitting on your couch
experiencing them by proxy. And I do think that that's true, because I just especially think in this day and age, like, a lot of relationships are really missing what romantic books are giving us. And, you know, I mean, I will say, like, I've even been throughout the years, like, affected in different ways. And I feel like that is something that a lot of people can relate to, is like reading that. And it is this sort of, I don't know, I think especially when romantasy is written by women for women, I think that is a specific brand of what we all wish that maybe life was like, and it's not.
Yeah, I think that especially with dating apps, like when dating apps started becoming popular, like connection became a lot more clinical, I guess, and it's obviously
also
less
people
romantic.
Just really be doing some. I mean, like, as a person who was really on the apps, because I was of the age group that was the target and I was single when the apps came out. Like, Tinder came out
narrowly when I avoided the apps.
That's crazy to me. Like, I was 20 and single when Tinder came out.
I think I was 24. Oh, yeah, I would have been 24 or 25 when Tinder came out. And me and Micah got together in 2016.
Yeah.
So I was 25.
Yeah.
So.
It's so crazy. Yeah. And that was the year that I think I got on there, and app dating was terrible. Truly, it just does desensitize you. I have been deconstructing a lot of that. I think it just desensitizes you from stuff. So
yeah, and it also gives people a lot more courage to be jerks.
Yeah, or like, you can literally show up and put on a mask and be somebody for a day and then block the person. Yeah, and I think there's just like no protections for people. And so yeah, like valid dating in 2026 is terrible. I feel like it's only gotten worse since 2016, because at least in 2016 we were still attached to the remnants of, oh, there's going to be real consequences for this stuff. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like there's just freaking catfishes and people doing crazy stuff, like scamming and or like they're married and they're scamming.
That's become like an entire industry now in various countries, where they just have people catfishing people and then like hope that 1 in 100 will give them money.
So crazy. And people really do give them money.
Yes, they do.
And it's really sad. It's usually really sad cases. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's nice, like, what, in a very weird way, roundabout, like, it's nice that we have myth makers and what myth makers is doing, because I think in a similar way, making friends is really hard in this day and age. And it's difficult because even with us, I think that we can see this happen where, you know, no matter how many events we host, it's really like getting strangers to interact on a level where they're actually going to start talking and figure out if they're compatible. That's difficult. And I think that short of doing like friendship speed dating, it is like, what are you supposed to do when you're just standing in a room full of people that like what you like and you don't know where to start or who you're going to vibe with? And that's always been an issue, I think, when we're building community, is trying to figure out, like, you know, everybody wants access. And it's like, the cheaper the event, the more people are going to be there. The smaller the event, the more expensive it usually is. Usually then it ends up being the same people. Those people become friends. Okay, but then, like, we do have to build community for other people. Having new people come into that space can be difficult, because then it's a bunch of people that know each other and, like, one new person. That can be hard, too. So it's, like, just trying to facilitate, I think, community and friendship is really difficult, in the same way that it's really difficult to just even find people, because it's so much more comfortable to stay friends with people that you've known since you were younger. And I just think you hit a place where we're like 30 years old and it's just not necessarily enough. It's just not really enough.
I don't think I'm friends with anybody that I grew up with. So.
I mean, I'm still friends with everybody that I've been friends with since kindergarten, and I'm also friends with a bunch of people I've met in my adulthood. And I think both are valid. Like, I feel like all of the people that I knew when I was younger have known me all of this time. And there's a lot of stuff that we know about each other and have seen each other through. And those things are all important and good. But I would be really lonely, I think, now if I didn't have anybody that I had stuff in common with.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big difference. And I think that's where a lot of people are finding themselves in their 30s. When you wake up and you realize, like, okay, all of the friends I have are great for a pizza night. They're great to get my nails done with. And I've known them since kindergarten, and we can talk about, like, you know, what everybody's up to that we went to school with, but who am I going to the movies with?
Yeah.
Who am I reading a book with? Who am I going on vacation with that's not just traditional girls trip? Oh, here I am. I love Lord of the Rings and I have no one to talk to about it. You know, like that stuff.
I also feel like childhood friends, unless they have grown with you in the same direction that you are also growing, like they will never quite grasp that you're not the person that you were when you were a kid.
Yep.
And so any faults that you had as a kid are still their primary image of you. And I feel like that can be really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I
agree with that too, because I think that as you get older and you're making friends, that is something that can be difficult. Is, I don't know, for me specifically, I think that I was a really messy person when I was young. And I think people still struggle to not think of me that way, even though I'm like the least messy person as an adult. And I've done a lot of work, and I do, and, you know, people will say that all the time. They'll be like, wow, like, that's really mature, really wise, or I've never thought about that way, or whatever. Like, they'll say that, but they're shocked every time. And I'm like, okay, I feel that I've been, like, rolling out this advice, and I've been really stable for at least 8 years now. Yeah. Like, at some point, this is who I am. This is what is normal. This is baseline. Baseline is not that, like, from the past. People,
I mean, I am still very combative, and people don't think I'm nice a lot of the time.
I don't think you're that combative.
I used to be really combative, and like, I don't know, like, you know, when I get overstimulated and I'm just like, nobody fucking talk to me, and like I get very frazzled, like that used to be my all the time. I was always overstimulated, so I was always frustrated, always annoyed, and always snapping at people. So people just thought I was like a mean person, and like, I don't know, my parents especially thought that I was just like always on the edge of a breakdown, because I kind of was, because I wasn't diagnosed and I didn't realize I was just overstimulated. And I feel like a lot of the people that I have now left behind in my past probably just think I'm a huge bitch.
Yeah, maybe. I think
so weird.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, I know people who know people. Like, okay, so I am friends with people who are still friends with people that knew me 15 years ago and that I don't know anymore. Yeah. And those people, like, you know, I don't know, will talk. Like, I'll talk to my friend and they'll be like, yeah, I mentioned something about you, and they'll be like, oh, well, you know, she's messy, and it's like, no, she's not. Like, what? And I just think it's so funny to think about how many people still see me that way, because I was really messy. I was a really messy person, and I feel like I wasn't very reliable, which I think is funny. I'm like one of the most reliable people, I think, now as an adult. But I was very unreliable, and I was very self-centered, and I was very, I don't know, like, I was definitely do it for the plot, and also, like, I wanted to be wanted, but that would mean, like, I would be willing to steal people's friends. I'd be willing to, like, I wanted everybody to like me. You know, I was just very, like, pick-me behavior, and it's so toxic and so bad. I look back and I'm like, ew, 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 ew. Like, it's just gross, but, like, you know, we grow up. I'm not gonna fault myself. I was 16. I was raised by narcissists. Like, it is what it is. So I've done a lot of work to unlearn those things, but to think about the fact that that version of me, like, lives on in the minds of people I haven't seen in 15 years is so funny, you know?
Yeah, I think about that a lot. Like, the timestamp of who I was the last time I saw that person. And, like, that's their forever impression of me. Yeah. So weird.
It took a lot of work in therapy for me to let go of that. Like, that actually used to haunt me.
Oh, yeah?
It was really difficult for me, I think, when I really started doing work in healing and I could recognize patterns. One thing I had to learn was that, like, just because I've unlearned it and I'm embarrassed doesn't necessarily mean that I need to, like, reach out and apologize. Like, people who I don't have anything in common with, and I'm not trying to be friends with them, and I was toxic to them, like, if I saw them or there was a reason for a discussion, but, like, if we just knew each other and I wasn't very good, like, as a person, and I didn't actually do anything to them, like, I don't need to just, like, make amends with every person I've ever met just because now I realize. And I think for me, but, like, when I first figured this shit out, like, I literally was like, I should just write, like, a text message to, like, every person I've ever known, and just been like, I'm really sorry. I understand now. I have all this perspective. No. But it's because I just hate the idea of, like, this version of me.
I've gotten texts like that before, too. And, like, every time I get them, I'm just like, okay, like, good for you. What does this do for me?
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't do anything for the person, which is why I realized I didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
But it does, it's like you're trying to, I don't know what it is, like right the wrongs or something. Mm-hmm. But I realized that what I really needed to do is just process the fact that you really cannot control people's opinions of you. Mm-hmm. There are people even now that I know that I'm acting with integrity. I know that I would never do something to harm someone. And there are still people out there who are going to have a negative opinion. Yeah, and we know, like, those people exist. Those people talk. And I feel like the best, as I've told you before, like, the best revenge, I don't call it revenge, but like the best revenge that you can have is to just continue to show up and be reliable and be a good person and like do your best. Mm-hmm. So to the point where like if people were saying things, it's kind of like, really? Like, I haven't had that experience with her. And that's what I want to be. Like, I want to know that I'm showing up in that way. And so I find that like that's better than being like, oh, I know what I did wrong and I'm sorry, because that sorry does nothing for the other person. Yeah. The only thing you can do is
their dog or something.
Yeah. But it's like all you got to do is just work on being a better person. And if I run into those people again, I would hope that they would see me and be like, wow, that person, I see like really intense change in that person. Yeah. So like the atonement that I can do is to be a better person today and tomorrow. And there's nothing that you can do to change the past. So yeah. But it was hard. It was hard when I first learned those lessons. I felt a lot of like, oh no. Well, we all feel that way. And I think it's important to acknowledge it and to just like,
I think it's interesting, like, you're very much more a people pleaser than I am. It just like, it's an interesting thought to me and not really something that I've ever felt the need to address, because I don't want them in my life anymore. And so like if I have to talk to them, or if I open communication, that opens communication. Yeah. And I'm like, absolutely not.
So that is
I don't want that.
Okay. I find that even that thought is kind of profound. Some people don't think that way. I had to learn to think that way. So for instance, I had somebody reach out to me and send me an email. And like, this is somebody that I've had blocked for a lot of years, and they wanted to like essentially talk. And I felt that this person wronged me, and I felt that they weren't apologizing in their email. And so when I read the email, I got really anxious because I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to respond to this? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to have to like be like, either I can right the wrong. I can say like, hey, this is all the stuff you did, and I need you to take accountability for this for us to have a relationship. Or I could be like angry. I could be like, look, I don't want to talk to you ever again because you did all of this and you're still not owning it. You can do that. I could just be like, look, I don't care. I just don't want any beef. Like, don't reach out to me. I won't reach out to you. It's in the past, but like, this is it. Just like, don't reach out to me again. And then I talked to my therapist about it, and she was like, or like, because I had said if they had said X, Y, and Z, I would respond, and I would feel really good about responding. And then she was like, okay, then like, if they ever reach out and they say X, Y, and Z, then respond. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, then it's like, why would you open communication with somebody that you don't want to talk to? Yeah. And I was like, I had not thought about that. Like, for me, the only conclusion to be reached was that I had to respond because this person reached out to me. And to realize that I didn't have to respond, and that is a choice, and that it is okay to like set the boundary of like, this person is not opening communication in a way that I'm comfortable with, and therefore like I can just make the decision to not respond because I don't like what this person said. Like, that's okay too. And that was crazy. That idea of just like that to open communication is to open communication. Yeah. What? I just thought like it happened to me. It's taken me a long time to realize that like it's not happening to me. Like, I'm also an active participant.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Like, those are things like when people say something bad about you, I always thought like, okay, this person said something bad about me. Now I need to like speak up and set the record straight. But I've realized that like there are going to be people, even if everything, you know, there are people who have like told you like, oh, this person was weird on Poshmark or whatever. Like, you know, maybe one time I ship a dress or I sell something and it comes, oh, it's got a hole in it, and they have a bad impression of me. And it's like, am I going to hunt down every single person that ever has a bad impression of me? Like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, whatever, like misunderstandings happen. It's okay that that's out there in the universe. Like, you can't control every person's perception of you.
Yeah, and like,
that's so hard for me. I hate that.
I also would even argue, like, even the people who have a positive perception of you, like, all the time we're finding things that, like, just the perception that I have in my head or that you have in your head is not what the other person sees.
Yeah.
Like literally with those photos that you just showed me of like you in that top and you're like, oh, I don't know if I really like that top.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I was literally thinking that I really liked it and I thought it looked cool. So like the perception that you have of yourself is not necessarily the image that I have in my mind.
Yeah.
Even if it's completely neutral or if it's positive or anything.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't control any of it.
It's also
like,
interesting when you post things. Like sometimes I'll post things and be like, this is such a flop. Like this is like my most flop outfit I've ever posted, but like I don't have time to remake the video, so I'm just gonna post it. And then people will be like, this is so inspiring and like you're so confident, and I'm like,
I know.
Oh my god, and it's like such, I hate it. I despise it.
No, it's always the videos that I hate that end up doing really well. I'm just like, oh god, could you just not look at it?
Oh no, yeah.
It just needs to exist. Just don't look at it.
Yeah, the brand told me I had to post it by a date, so here we are. But like, don't look at it and stop telling me it looks good because I know
perceiving me.
I know it doesn't. I know sometimes it's so funny. I like being perceived, but I have found myself yearning for like being perceived less in the future. So I'm really excited to be an author. That is what I have to say. Is I'm excited to be an author because I feel that potentially there is a path for me to be perceived less, but still be able to put things out there.
Yeah.
And that would be so cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've just been wanting to be perceived less, and I think that's been a thing.
Yeah, I've been kind of thinking about that, and like, I mean, I have kind of been dealing with the not wanting to be perceived for like years at this point, and part of me
joining the club.
I know. Like part of me is like, okay, but I like doing social media. Theoretically, I have liked doing social media. So like this is a path that I want to do, but then like, so I had really wanted to be an actor when I was younger. Yeah. We talked about this like briefly before. And then like when I was in Korea with my mom laying on this massage table, this like middle-aged dude, like massaging my leg, and I was like zoning out. I was like, what? If I was automatically good at something and didn't have to go through the awkward, like, oh, I'm still learning and like embarrassingly cringe and all of that, and like that could be the thing that I make money with, what would I want to do? And my brain at that point just kept going back to acting. And I've thought about it, and I think it's because I like being perceived physically without having to be perceived emotionally.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I feel like I like all of it. I love being emotionally and physically perceived, but it is very difficult when I don't have the emotional capacity to be perceived. And then I feel like I'm letting people down.
Yeah.
And I think, and that I know exactly what you're talking about, because like being an influencer in its own way is acting. Like you are putting yourself in a headspace. It's authentic. Like I still feel authentic. I got dressed this morning in an outfit, but like I like this outfit. But it is like I'm working with a brand. You know, there is this layer of sort of separation from my emotional self. Like I'm not dressed in what I'd be wearing if I was just dealing with my personal life right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I feel that that's actually helpful for me to get out of my head a little. But sometimes it's like if I'm not energetically capable of showing up, there's like just no alternative.
Yeah.
There's almost like no alternative to it. And it just kind of sucks because energetically. And it's like energetically, I was watching this thing about astrology this morning, as we always talk about astrology in this podcast, but they were talking about how your moon will like cycle. So if you look at your moon sign, sometimes you can figure out like where naturally in your life things are going to wax and wane. So for me, my moon is in Aquarius, which rules friendships in the 11th house of social and friendships and social life and just being perceived socially. And so I think it's very interesting that I tend to have these moments of like waxing and waning of my ability, I guess, to like show up in big ways, or like sometimes I just like for myth makers, I will post every fucking day for 60 days straight and then not post for a month. Like sometimes I can really show up and sometimes I can't. And my moon also straddles my 10th house of career, so that makes a lot of sense that like sometimes it does that for me. I'm trying to have more patience with myself that that's just always gonna happen. Your moon's in Pisces, and it's in your what house?
Straddles first and 12th.
Right, because you're a Pisces rising. But your moon falls in your 12th house of endings and beginnings and religion and spirituality and inner dialogue.
That's why I overthink everything.
But also, like, it is also in your first house. So that's interesting because I think it's just sort of like a, who am I? I like to think of, like, 12th house as, like, a lot having to do with, like, very internal, deep identity. And then I like to think of rising as, like, how people perceive you. Just having this waxing and waning probably of exactly what you're talking about. This, like, wanting to be perceived, not wanting to be perceived. Mm-hmm. But just to know that, like, maybe to set up a life where you can do both.
Yeah.
Because I think that's just what's going to have to happen in order for you to be successful, because you'll know that it's always going to wax and wane. For me, I'm trying to also be aware of that like our moons are going to wax and wane. My Venus waxes and wanes. Sometimes I'm just more social than other times.
Does everything wax and wane? I'm confused.
My Venus is also Aquarius.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
So, like, all of my energy that's in Aquarius is with my moon. Okay. So I'm just looking at that and being like, okay, but it's the same for you because your rising is on there. So you got to think you're also having that experience.
So, like, my self-expression and how others perceive me. Great.
Yay!
Cool. That explains a lot.
It does explain a lot. Astrology is really cool. I think it's fun. I've been watching a lot of astrology videos that talk about embracing all the aspects of your chart, and they just make more sense. I think the more you go along and the more lessons you're learning and the more patterns you can be aware of in your life, the more patterns you'll see in your chart as well.
I keep getting so many reels and TikToks that are like, just surrender, and frequently they're God. It's like frequently like, let Jesus take the wheel essentially and stop trying so hard and just let life decide what is good for you. And I'm like, like, is this religious propaganda?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of them
it's
are
called
not
religious.
religion,
I would say it's called religious bypass, regardless of whatever it is. It's religious bypass, and it's taking your personal accountability and power and putting it onto something divine or separate that's outside of your control. And people use that in religion a lot, and that's where you get people being like, just leave it to Jesus. I don't have to deal with it. God has taken away my sins.
No.
Yeah, it's really, really toxic. So I highly recommend not doing
that. To that extent, it's like, do you follow, what is her fucking name? Inspired Media Co. Well, she was talking about like how she had this personal goal to like reach make $1 million or something in her business by the end of last year, and then she didn't get it, and she had like a health crisis and like a bunch of these other problems. Didn't make her deadline, didn't really have a good end of year at all, and then a month later got she's also like a wedding content person, so like she got hired to do this 3-day wedding in like Italy or something, and then also got this like big brand sponsorship and like all of these other things, and she's like, and then she hit $1 million revenue for her. Revenue, is that the net?
Yeah, like not the full pre-tax.
She hit $1 million in like total amount her company made without deducting everything. And so like she was talking about how she had been trying so hard to plan every little aspect of her life, and then like she got really sick and couldn't anymore and just kind of had to like let go, and then because of that, like a bunch of things that she could not have planned, like working the wedding in Italy or like getting whatever sponsorship happened. And she is religious, but she's Filipino, so she's like that religious. So it's more stuff like that where it's like, just like keep doing work, but like loosen up a little bit.
So I will say that I think that I like to live in this way, and this is just a thing that I like, that really stuck with me. I don't know where I picked this up from, but I believe that I learned it in therapy. But like, life happens to you. Like, life is going to happen, and there's no level of preparation or control that you can have to prepare yourself for what's coming. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how much you plan. It doesn't matter like how good your system is. It's just not, you are never going to be 100% prepared.
Yeah.
And most people, when you're trying to like make systems and make plans and do all these things, you are approaching life like this. And this is life. And you're going to hold on and you're ready for it and you're bracing. But like, in the same way that if you brace against a wave and the wave comes, it will knock you down. Mm-hmm. Like, that is what happens when you brace and you hold on. You are trying to hold on to sand. It's just, you are incapable of holding on to it. That's the nature of reality.
Yeah.
And so instead, you have to learn how to approach things like this with your hands open. And the idea is that whatever comes to you, you're kind of like letting go, and you're letting these opportunities come to you, and you're learning how to hold them and to like release things that you don't need and to hold on to things that you do need. And yeah, you don't want it to like pile up or do whatever, but if you can learn to just sort of accept that all of the things that are happening, like you can make good changes. Like I said, you can hand things off, you can like put things wherever they belong, but the things will come. You have to accept them. You have to like put them where they belong, do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, life is experienced like this. And if you're experiencing it like this, then you're always going to get knocked over. And so I do think that in that way, I think that it is important to kind of let go of the fact that you just can't.
Describing it like that, I feel like my problem is more that I'm like not actually grabbing anything.
Sure. Or that like you're holding it like this and you're not putting it anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe you're not bracing and you're accepting it, but you just don't know where to put it. You know? And I think that sometimes just figuring out where to put the things can be really helpful. Like, oh, I've got this type of work and this is really hard and takes a lot of energy. I'm going to not prioritize this. I mean, I'm dealing with that right now, where I feel that right now, where we just had the market, we have the sales, it's wedding season. I just finished, my book is completely edited and like ready to be carried. Yeah, but I have to add, I want to add a couple like hints for book 2. There are things I want to look at, but like it's done and it's...
Oh, she wants to leave.
Yeah, but like the book is done and I'm at this point where I feel that I should be doing a lot more. But when I wake up, the things that I'm capable of doing are like, I've been making soup every like 2 days, like a crock pot of soup that's really good, different flavors. At night, I've been doing like a hair oiling routine. I'm watching Love Island.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping. I'm resting.
Self-care.
I'm taking my like 2 bags to the Goodwill every day type thing, like slowly going through the garage. So these are not immediate tasks. And I will say that at some point I'm going to have to like put those to the side and only do immediate tasks. But I'm just trying to like feel out the balance of where I'm at right now, because I just think that I'm in a like specifically right now, I feel that I'm in kind of a vulnerable spot emotionally and in my life. And so I just want to make sure I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah.
No, and sometimes it's just like that, learning where to put things, you know, how to balance it all. And I think that's a lifelong lesson.
That's kind of like where I was the entire last year. And like now I'm kind of like, I don't know, this garb sale shit and like the market and stuff and like how I kind of hate vending personally. Yeah. I just feel like I've been needing to sew for like, I don't know, the entire day today and yesterday and the day before. But then like when I'm sewing and like working on stuff for the market, I'm like, okay, but I should be like working on the long-term building like of myth makers and like my personal brand and stuff, and working on digital products and things that will actually be more useful long-term. But also I need to have enough product to sell at the garb sale, and that has a deadline, and I need to make some money immediately. So it's like just constantly feeling like I am doing something that is technically useful, but I also should be doing this other thing that would probably be more useful. And then if I switch and I'm like working on content and stuff, I'm like, okay, I really need to be doing stuff for the garb sale.
That's really hard.
It's very frustrating.
It really is hard. I feel the same way, and I feel like there is no answer other than to just move through it and give yourself grace. And it's hard. Yeah, I'm in the same place, and I feel very much like I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. The one good part about doing all the sewing is that my brain can just like check out.
That's nice.
So like I can actually be...
That's your Love Island time.
Yeah.
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 That's what I do. I lay in bed and I just let them go, fuck, bruh, on my TV. There's a guy with really bad vocal fry this year, but he just got kicked off. But that's what he would do. He would go, fuck, bruh. And he has a crazy voice. But like they're always having the same conversation. I can really see us out in the real world. Really? Me too. Yeah. Like we're just so compatible. I know you're perfect. I'm perfect. We both look perfect together. It's just crazy. How else am I supposed to find such a perfect person? Truly, we're like perfect for each other. Like, bro, I can't even believe it. It's like, I swear that's like every conversation. There's like no deep conversations to be had.
God.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny how often they reenacted the Mamacita conversation towards the end of last season.
That's because it was a meme and people were making t-shirts and stuff.
But like, they don't know that.
So when the parents come
I guess the family does.
The family comes in and then they tell them what's going on, pretty much. Yeah.
Got
so
it.
then they knew Mamacita was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mamacita.
I thought that was funny.
Gosh. Mommy? Like, of a dog? Mamacita. It was funny, though. It was funny. There's some... What is one of the... There is some sound bits that are coming out of this year that are pretty funny, but I don't remember what they are. I have to think about it.
Also, that moment happened while we were watching it. I was like, we were standing in line for a roller coaster when Sarah told me that line.
Mamacita. I'm really up on it. I'm brain rotting, but that's okay.
That's fun.
I'm trying to brain rot less, and I don't really watch TV, so this is nice.
We've been watching Dan Levy's new show.
What show is that?
I can't remember what it's called.
Oh my.
Who is Dan Mistakes. Levy? He is, Ew, David.
Ew, David, yeah. Oh, I felt like Ew, David the other day when I was learning what write-offs were. Oh my gosh. Have I already talked?
Write-off.
Did I talk about that on the podcast already, that I didn't know what write-offs were?
Wait, what?
Have I told you
I've explained to you what write-offs are before.
No. So, like, yes, there was crucial information that was missing from my definition of a write-off. Yeah, so my friend Janelle came over the other day, and we were talking about it, and I just, like, had no idea how financially illiterate that I was. That is a journey that I'm on right now, learning financial literacy.
Even personally don't think I'm very financially literate.
But, like, I did the math on that trip and sent it to you.
Yeah,
like,
it's not right.
I am bad. It is, like, beyond bad. Yeah, so... It's just how it goes sometimes. I'm financially illiterate.
It's okay.
We're working on it, though. I am, and I am learning rather than, like, outsourcing, because I would like to know.
Which is good.
Yeah. So I think I have a better understanding today than I did yesterday. Good. And it's all good. It all works out. But yeah, financial literacy is really important. It's one of my karmic lessons, because all of my Saturn placements and things, and a lot of them have to do with money and
which house
career.
Is that again?
My Saturn is in Pisces in my 12th house, but I am ruled by Saturn in my chart. And if you don't learn the lessons of Saturn, then you don't learn anything.
Wait, how do you know that you're in money? I'm confused.
I'm a Capricorn, and Capricorns have a lot to do with money. Money and Capricorn, it's a big thing. And Capricorn's ruled by Saturn.
My Saturn is in Aquarius,
yes,
and whatever
it's on
is
my
next
11th
to
house,
Aquarius,
and it's in my moon. We have moons on each other's Saturn.
Wait, is that one Capricorn?
Mm-hmm. That's Capricorn.
Okay, so my Saturn.
No, but what we're looking for
is here, though. So it's not in this part. So it's
Saturn in Aquarius in your 11th house.
Okay.
It falls in your 11th house. So your Saturn lessons probably have more to do with, like, friendship. Maybe, like, learning how to pick good friends. That would be my thought for you.
Yep.
But you're doing good.
Really good. I was actually just having this thought recently. It's still going. So our last roommates, or our only last roommates, I guess, the one that tried to sue us, and then the one who was supposed to move with us and didn't. We had a lot of mutual friends through cosplay and everything. And sometimes, like, I was hanging out with my dad, or I had to go to school or whatever, and she would go hang out with, this is the one who was supposed to move with us, she would go hang out with other friends who were mutual friends of ours. And then every time she would come back, she would have something to say to me about, like, oh, they said this thing about you, and, like, they were telling me, like, oh, you're too controlling, and, like, all these things, and, like, I told them that was stupid, and, like, you're not like that,
I stood
and you're
10
great.
toes down for you.
And it's, like, it took me so long to realize
that's not true.
She was the one talking shit. The common denominator is her.
It's her.
So she must be the one bringing it up every time.
Yes.
I'm like,
yeah. It took me, I will say, it took me a comically long time to learn that too. When people would be like, I don't even know why I hang out with these people and they speak so bad of you, but don't worry, girl, because I defended your name. And then you, like, talk to the people separately and they're just like, that girl is always shit talking to you. And it's like, okay.
Except, okay, so this was, like, my best friend because we were living together.
This was my best friend I was living with.
Oh my God.
It's always some girl living with you that has something to say.
People who, like, I get it. You gotta complain about, like, your roommates occasionally. Like, I might not do dishes the way you like. I might not, I don't know, might leave a mess everywhere. I do leave a mess everywhere. Not that she was much cleaner. But,
sure.
You know, I'm messy. I have a lot of clutter. I get complaining about me sometimes. But it was, like, too. About my, like, me as a person. And I'm like, if you dislike me that much, and, like, I constantly would be like, why do you keep hanging out with them then? Like, if they are constantly saying shitty things about me, like, why do you keep going back and hanging out with them? And she'd always be like, oh, well, I don't know, like, I guess I feel kind of bad, like, just ditching them and, like, all this stuff. And, like...
No, I will just say, if there's somebody who's always telling you that people are talking shit...
They're the ones talking shit.
You're almost always the person talking shit. Like, unless somebody's coming to you, I will say this, I've learned this. This is how you can discern if you're a person who might be on the spectrum or you just don't know. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I had let me speak to you in private. I'm letting you know that recently there has been this very specific situation where someone was talking about you. I thought that you should know. And, like, I don't want to get involved in it. And, you know, I just think you need to have a direct conversation with that person. And this is something that has happened a couple times. And I just don't really know if there's something going on. Now, that is a mature adult situation. That's not talking shit. That is just calling your attention to something. Mm-hmm. If you meet somebody who's like, everybody's always talking shit. And I'm always there, like, don't talk shit about people, guys. We don't need to talk shit. And, you know, they're listing 10, 12, 15 examples of times they've been places where people are talking. Like, yeah, that person's... It's them.
They're the one doing it.
It's them, for sure. For sure, it's them. And I would put money on that. Yeah. Like, I have not been... I've yet to be in a situation where somebody is just always there, listening, and then telling me, filling me in.
To say.
Yep. It's almost never that. So, if you need to know... That's how you can tell. It does look different. So, I think that's our yap for today.
Yeah.
We will have to think of a different topic for next week.
I feel like we started strong.
We did.
We kind of devolved at the end. But
Love Island is fun. Friendships are fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are hoping to have more researched ideas, and it would be awesome if you guys have any thoughts on what we could possibly talk about on this podcast.
I can keep giving my hot takes on books.
We really do talk a lot, but I think it would be cool to have some cohesive themes for the episode ideas. Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, we're happy that you're here. We'll be seeing you at the garb sale, and have a good rest of your week.
Woo!
Bye!
Bye!